My name is Rod Query, and my wife Nancy and I have been attending Elevate Life Church for a little over a year now. We have been married for 30 years, and we've been in ministry for that entire 30 years. We started coming to Elevate Life Church last October after we moved from Illinois. I had retired out of full-time ministry and had started my own consulting firm to help other churches. And we had the opportunity to move here for my wife's work. In January, the opportunity came for us to join Mastermind. And we talked about it, and we said this was an event that we could not pass up, that I really wanted to be a part of it, not only for the aspect to network with everybody, but to be able to be mentored. And in business and in my life, have really come to the place of understanding what it means to be at the right place at the right time with the right people, because we have experienced our whole right alignments. We came back on August 2nd, and that was our homecoming series, and Pastor Keith came out that Sunday morning. I have been in ministry, as I said, for 30 years, but something happened. He was talking about ideals and reality and the expectations.
Those unmet expectations turn into unrealistic expectations. Why? Because I thought it was going to be this way, but you weren't that way. So the next question is, were you? The ideal didn't work, did it? The reality established the truth, and the truth is I can't do this. Now there's an expectation. So watch this. From our expectations stem all of our frustrations.
As I followed along, listening to him talking, something hit that said, this is what's been going on in your life for so many years that you just haven't been able to put your finger on. And I realized that I had had a great life in ministry and in different careers that I've always had, but I've lived my life with frustration, disillusionment, and disappointment. And he wrote those three words up on the screen that morning, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. That's what I've been living in my entire life. Even though I'd had great success, I realized that I'd lived my life in frustration. And I immediately, in my mind, I began to tear up as Pastor was talking, and I just kind of in my own mind whispered, God, how do I get out of this? And then he began to talk about a kingdom mindset.
Because we in this room live under the rule of God. And so we got to find out, okay, how do I make my mindset line up with what God wants for my life? And how can I predispose myself, take a position before something happens that I will get through no matter what happens, because I've already decided before the storm hits, here's what I'm going to do when I have a storm.
That morning just completely changed my life. I remember sitting up in row H in the bowl, and my wife leaned over and grabbed my hand, and I began to cry. What happened after that was just phenomenal, because we've had probably the worst year of our marriage and the worst year of our lives this last year, and still God began to speak. And as of August 2nd, when I began declaring a kingdom mindset, everything changed. We unexpectedly had to move out of the home that we were in, and yet I saw it through a whole different lens. I'm like, okay, God, you must have a better plan. My mother ended up having to have a back surgery, and we're praying through that and just like, okay, God, what's going on? We're gonna look at this through a kingdom mindset. My son ended up going through a divorce, having to deal with what are they gonna do with their 5-year-old and all that stuff. And we just began to see things through a kingdom mindset that we had never looked at before. August 2nd happened. August 5th, I went to my mastermind. I walked in that morning, and Pastor Keith began to prophesy over me. And he said in that moment, everything that you have been working up to in your life, all of your education, your experiences, your background, has been scaffolding for what God is about ready to do in your life. And then he began to teach in the masterminds and share more in depth about reality and ideals and expectations. And literally within the next 5 to 6 weeks in our life completely turned around. Our life completely changed. Opportunities opened, double happened for us. And everything that I had lived my life for just opened up in a way that I could never have even orchestrated. being surrounded by people of like faith, people who are supporting you, people who are praying for you, was probably the most encouraging thing for us during this last several months. One of the small groups we got involved in was the Wednesday night elevated marriages. And I would tell people, you've got to get involved in a small group in a big church. That's what makes the church work. You have to have the ability to surround yourself with people who are going through the same stuff you're going through. And I just really have bought in so much to the vision here about how we, go through and we know God and we go and serve and we sow generously. All of those values have been instilled in us. And that Sunday just again changed my life because I was open. I don't know if a year ago, if that word had been spoken, if I really would have been open enough. I was in a place in my life again where I was aligned with the right people at the right place at the right time. Where the relationship thing is when you start finding a group that you can connect with, all of a sudden you realize, man, I'm not in this by myself and I have other people who can walk this journey with me.